Mark the 13th anniversary of the deadliest terror attack on U.S. soil.
Solemn 9/11 ceremonies will be held nationwide. CBS News' Weijia Jiang is live in Lower Manhattan with a look at this morning's ceremony at the Trade Center site. Weijia.
Well, Mary, the ceremony will begin at 8:46 a.m. as it does every year with a citywide moment of silence to mark the first plane that struck the North Tower. Obviously, 13 years later, the country is not the same, and neither is New York, stronger than ever. The tribute in light illuminated the night sky, blue beams of light filling the void left by each of the Twin Towers 13 years ago. But for those who lost a loved one, the empty space remains.
My father, Richard Anthony Achetto. Daddy, I miss you so much.
Relatives of those killed gather at the memorial site where they're reading each victim's name aloud. This morning, the commemoration ceremony will pause 6 times, twice to mark the times each plane hit the towers, twice for the moments when they fell, and to mark the attacks on the Pentagon and Flight 93 in Pennsylvania. For many, the pain is still fresh, but they are surrounded by signs of strength at the World Trade Center site.
Today, as we look around us, we see that Lower Manhattan has come roaring back, becoming a hub not only for global finance, but our city's most diverse and dynamic neighborhoods.
The National 9/11 Memorial and the museum are now complete and open. One World Trade Center is set to open later this year, joining Towers 7 and 4. More than 5 million square feet of office space has already been leased, and work continues on the 3rd tower and transit center.
The progress of what we've made is testimony to a great many important voices, all of whom were willing to bet on the World Trade Center.
The site of one of America's worst horrors transformed into a symbol of rebirth. And as we've been talking about all morning, this is the first anniversary where the 9/11 Memorial and Museum is open to commemorate the victims in a way we haven't been able to do before on September 11th. Joining us now is the director of the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, Alice Greenwald. Good morning, Alice. You've been with the project now for 8 years. It's finally open, and we are able to pay honor to the victims in this new way. What should people expect as they go inside?
Well, you know, today we are open to the family members of victims following the commemoration. And for those who haven't been in the museum, I am hopeful that it will be an experience of comfort and healing, knowing that their loved ones have been honored and remembered, not for how they died, but for how they lived their lives. Many family members have already come to the museum, and we've been extremely gratified by their response, as well as that of the public.
And many people have already made their way through. What have they experienced and told you after their visit?
Many people say they weren't prepared for what the experience is actually like, that it was emotionally uplifting at the end of the experience. Difficult, of course, sad, profoundly sad, but there is a sense of resilience and of renewal. And I think that is one of the great takeaways from this museum, is that the worst possible things can happen, and yet we have this deep, innate capacity for renewal.
And it is so vast, too. So that's why, because there are so many different exhibits and stories. Can you just tell us about some of them? Because you can spend an entire day, morning to night, in there.
That's actually true. People are spending 3.5 hours on their visits. Well, the museum is an archaeological space. You walk into the actual foundation of the World Trade Center, and there are in situ remnants of the original structure of the World Trade Center still in place. So you have this sense of authenticity, of an authentic environment in which to re-encounter, or if you were too young or not born yet, to learn about the events of 9/11. We tell that story in our historical exhibition, but we also have a memorial exhibit which tells the story of the 2,983 victims. That includes the victims at all 3 sites here on 9/11, but also the 6 who perished in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing.
Thank you so much, Alice. Thank you for joining us. And again, the museum and memorial will be open really to family members today, but open to the public beginning at 6 o'clock this evening. For now, we are live in Lower Manhattan. Weijia Jiang, CBS 2 News.